The first thing you need to know about me is that my name is Chike. And if you ask anybody who really know me, they'll tell you two things. One, I've been a hustler since I knew how to count money. Two, if you see me, you don't have to look far before you see Ikenna. But before I start talking about Ikenna, I need to take you back, way back to where it all started. Because nothing in my life just happened like that. Everything gets story. I was born in Naba, in one small compound where everybody know everybody and your business was everybody's business. My father, God rest his soul, was a mechanic, but not just any mechanic. He was the type that could fix a car with chewing gum and prayer. He had this workshop by the roadside with a big rusted sign that read Chijioke, Son's Auto Repair. Even though at that time, Son's was just me, and I was only 5 years old. My mother was an Akara seller. Her stall was just outside our compound, a small wooden table, frying pan black from years of smoke, and a bench where customers would sit with their plates of hot Akara and pap. She was a strong woman, my mama, the type that could be selling Akara, shouting at me to sweep the compound, and greeting customers all at the same time without missing a beat. We didn't have much, but I never thought of us as poor until I started school and saw other kids with clean shoes, shiny bags, and lunch boxes that could feed a small village. Me? My first school bag was one my uncle brought from Legos. The zip didn't work, so my mother tied it with rope. My shoes had more patches than original leather. And lunch? Most days it was yam, porridge, or gari with groundnut. By the time I was 10, I already knew life wasn't going to hand me anything for free. I started helping my father at the workshop after school, passing him spanners, holding torchlight, sometimes climbing under the car when he couldn't fit. And on weekends, I would help my mother fry a kara, mostly because she'd give me the leftover ones to eat. I didn't have many friends then. Most of the boys in my area thought I was too serious, or maybe they just didn't like that I didn't have money to follow them to buy Puff Puff after school. But all that changed in JSON the day I met Ikenna. It was the first day of school at Gainer Secondary. My uniform was new in the sense that my mother had sewn it just 2 days before, but the shorts were so high they showed my knees like government project nobody wanted to finish. My shirt was stiff with starch, the kind that could cut your skin if you weren't careful. When the bell rang for break, I sat alone under the mango tree at the corner of the school field and opened my lunch. Yam porridge. No meat, no egg, just plenty pepper and 1 cube of Maggi that hadn't melted properly. I was trying to eat slowly so it would last the whole break when I noticed this tall, slim boy sitting not too far from me. His uniform actually fit him, which already told me this was somebody. But what really caught my attention was his lunchbox, big, red, and when he opened it, the smell of jollof rice with fried chicken floated into the air like invitation letter. My stomach did a double somersault. Now, I'm not the type to beg for food. Pride won't allow me, but hunger is stronger than pride. So I dusted my shorts, walked over, and greeted him. "Guy, how far? You be new student?" He looked up from his food, nodded, and said, "Yeah, just moved here last week." We started talking about where we lived, the teachers we'd seen that morning, which subjects we liked. I noticed he wasn't eating much, just picking at the rice. I pointed at the chicken and said, "You no go finish that?" He shrugged. "I'm not really hungry." Before he could change his mind, I had already stretched my hand. He laughed, passed me the chicken and said, "You be thief, but nah my thief." From that day, we became inseparable. Ikenna was different from me in many ways. For one, he always had this quiet confidence. Like no matter what happened, he'd be fine. And he was smart, not just book smart, but street smart. He could read people, know who to talk to, when to talk, and what to say to get what he wanted. His family wasn't much better off than mine. His father worked as a night watchman for a construction site that had been under construction for almost 10 years. His mother sold Puff Puff at the junction near their house, always with one eye on the road in case the council boys came around to chase her away. Despite our backgrounds, we had big dreams. In JSS 2, we promised each other we'd become rich before 30. We didn't know how, but we were sure it would happen. After my father died when I was 15, things got harder. My mother struggled to keep us fed. One day, she told me my uncle in the village had found her a small piece of land to farm, and she was moving there. I refused to follow her. Farming wasn't for me. I wanted to stay in the city, to hustle, to find a way out. That's how I ended up moving in with Ikenna's family. His house was in one of those neighborhoods where the road is just dust and potholes, and goats walk around like they own the place. The zinc roof sang every time rain fell, and you could hear the neighbors arguing through the walls. But I loved it there not because it was comfortable, but because me and my guy were together. We started hustling small, selling phone accessories at the market, running errands for shop owners, even acting as parking attendants during big weddings without anyone hiring us. We'd stand by the entrance, wearing serious faces, and collect 200 from each driver to watch their car. Sometimes it worked. Sometimes we had to disappear before the real parking attendants came. We tried everything, selling designer slippers from Legos that were actually spelled designer, buying used clothes from Abba Market, washing them, and selling them as UK thrift. At one point, we even started a goat rental business for traditional weddings. The idea was Ikena's. He said people would pay to take pictures with goats in their village attire. And he was right until one goat broke free during a reception and scattered the couple's photo shoot. That was the end of that. But for every hustle that failed, we'd just laugh it off and start another one. It was like we believed failure was just part of the plan. Somewhere in the middle of all these hustles, I met Adaize. She walked into the small computer cafe where I typed assignments for Polytechnic students. She came to print a document, and when her flash drive wasn't opening, I helped her fix it. The way she smiled at me that day, I almost forgot my own name. She was studying business administration, smart and soft-spoken, but with a sharp tongue if you tried nonsense. We started talking, then meeting after her classes. She never cared that my shirts were faded or that sometimes I couldn't afford more than a bottle of Coke for our dates. She always said I was intelligent and that one day my hard work would pay off. I had ambitions, big ones. I wanted to own my own electronics store, shiny, with air conditioning, selling imported phones and laptops. I wanted to wear fine clothes, drive a small but clean car, and have people call me Ogachike. But dreams are expensive, and my pockets were always empty. There were days we didn't eat until night. Days we had to hide from landlords because the rent was overdue. Days we'd sit on the roadside, drinking pure water, and just watch people driving past, wondering if they were born lucky or if they found a way that we hadn't. And then came the hustle that changed everything, the one that brought me here. It wasn't meant to be trouble. It started like all our other ideas, small, harmless, and maybe just a little illegal. A friend of a friend had some goods from Lagos Electronics, brand new, but the paperwork was complicated. He said we could help him sell them quickly and take a cut. It sounded like easy money. We didn't ask too many questions. That was our first mistake. Within a week, we had sold most of the goods, laptops, speakers, phones, all at prices that made buyers think they were getting the deal of the century. We were feeling good, already planning how to invest our profit into something legit. Then the police came. They didn't knock. They just entered Ikena's house one morning, shouting, turning things upside down. Apparently, the goods were stolen from a warehouse in Lagos. The owner had traced them to our buyers, and from there, to us. They arrested both of us. Ikena's uncle, a big man with serious connections, came to see us. He pulled Ikena aside and told him, if Chike takes the whole blame, I'll make sure he's taken care of when he comes out. He promised me 1.5 million if I kept Ikena's name out of it. I thought about his sick mother, his younger siblings. I didn't have anyone depending on me, so I took the fall. The court gave me 3 years. Adaize cried in the dock that day, but she's been here every visiting day since, bringing flasks of rice and stew, smiling through the glass, telling me, 3 years, no be forever. You go come out stronger. Ikena still keeps in touch too, sometimes through visits, sometimes sending me small cash through Adaize. We still laugh about our old hustles and plan for the future. Sitting in this prison yard, I think about my life a lot, about my father's rough hands under the car bonnet, my mother's Akara stall, the dusty streets of Ikena's neighborhood, the endless hustles, the dreams that never quite made it. Do I regret it? Sometimes. But then I remember I was never afraid to try. And if the gates open right now, I know I'd see Ikena outside, smiling, ready with another plan, probably a terrible one, and I'd still follow him. Because some friendships are worth more than money. Even if they cost you your freedom,